The Irish border has been contentious for a while now. In countless TLDR videos, we discussed the difficulties that were predicted for the Northern Irish border post-Brexit, and it seems things are beginning to unravel. However, fewer predicted the knock-on effect it would have on Northern Irish politics more generally, and the crisis that's emerging. So let's explain that right now. By the way, this video was brought to you by the TLDR store. Support the channel and grab some Countries with Shoes pins, including the UK, Northern Ireland and Ireland, and you can get 15% off if you use code BORDER. The link's in the description. So, we're going to split this video into 4 parts. First, we're going to explain what the DUP have just done to the Irish Sea border. Second, we're going to have a look at how it'll impact Northern Irish politics. Spoiler, it's not good. Third, we're going to have a look at the response from UK, EU and other Irish politicians. And fourth, we're going to have a look at how it might impact the ongoing negotiations over the Northern Irish Protocol. So, on Wednesday evening, DUP politician and Northern Irish Agricultural Minister Edwin Poots announced that he had ordered Northern Irish officials to stop all checks on goods moving across the Irish border at midnight. These checks had been introduced as a consequence of the Northern Irish Protocol, part of Boris Johnson's Brexit agreement with the EU. Poots claimed that he'd received legal advice on Wednesday from former Northern Irish Attorney General John Larkin, suggesting that the checks were, quote, unlawful, presumably because of how they interact with the Good Friday Agreement. Now, it's not clear that this actually happened in the end. According to reports, there were still checks going on Thursday. This is probably because there's some legal ambiguity about whether Poots even has the power to unilaterally disapply checks. The Northern Irish Protocol, after all, is an international treaty signed by the UK and EU, and it's unclear whether Northern Ireland's power-sharing agreement requires Poots to find agreement with the Deputy First Minister, Sinn Féin MLA Michelle O'Neill, who's made it clear that she doesn't agree with the move. Nonetheless, that Poots even tried to do this is big news, and it goes to show how far the DUP are willing to go in resisting the protocol. In much the same vein, it was reported that DUP member and Northern Irish First Minister Paul Givan is expected to resign in protest against the checks implied by the Northern Irish Protocol. There are broadly 2 reasons the DUP have renewed their attacks on the protocol. The first is ideological. Unionist parties in Northern Ireland really don't like the protocol because they see the introduction of checks across the Irish Sea, something that, to be fair, Johnson promised them wouldn't happen, as a threat to the union of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Last year, all 3 main unionist parties in Northern Ireland, the DUP, UUP and TUV, brought a legal challenge against the protocol in February, which was dismissed in July. The DUP have renewed their attacks because, in their eyes, the UK government isn't doing enough to push back against it. While the government has made their dislike of the protocol clear, that's why Liz Truss is currently trying to renegotiate it, they've so far refrained from doing what the DUP want them to do, trigger Article 16 and unilaterally suspend checks across the Irish Sea. The DUP have got impatient with what they see as the UK government posturing, and they decided to take matters into their own hands. The second reason is political. Thanks to a whole load of reasons, including the myopic focus on the protocol, which, by the way, a majority of Northern Ireland actually approve of, constant infighting and old-fashioned social conservatism, the DUP have experienced a steep drop in the polls. At the last Northern Irish election in 2017, the DUP came first with 28% of the vote, just edging out the national Sinn Féin by 0.2% of the vote. The latest Lucid Talk polling from mid-January gave Sinn Féin an 8-point lead over the DUP, who came in at just 17%. With this move, the DUP are presumably hoping to consolidate some of the unionist vote, which is currently split relatively evenly between the DUP, UUP and TUV. Anyway, you get the point. The DUP is doing this for both ideological and political reasons. On to the second part of this video, how this will affect Northern Irish politics. The most immediate impact will be that First Minister Paul Givan's resignation will trigger yet another constitutional crisis in Northern Ireland. Due to Northern Ireland's power sharing agreement, Givan's resignation will also trigger the resignation of the Deputy First Minister, Michelle O'Neill. Under Stormont's original rules, there was a 7-day period to renominate the posts or trigger a full collapse of the devolved government and fresh elections. But legislation, which is due to be completed at Westminster next week, will allow the Northern Irish Assembly to continue for 6 weeks without the need for an election. Nonetheless, while other ministers might be able to stay in their post, Givan's resignation will lead to the collapse of the Northern Irish executive, which is pretty bad news given that, like everywhere else, Northern Ireland is currently looking at a cost of living crisis, and ministers won't be able to take any new decisions. This new crisis also means that the next Northern Irish general election, which is due to be held in May, will almost definitely be fought over the protocol, and will therefore be quite a fierce contest between nationalists and unionists. There was some hope that the issue would have died down by then, but this now looks unlikely. So you get the point, this isn't great for Irish politics, because it will undermine the functioning of the Northern Irish government, and guarantee a nasty election. On to the third part of the video, the response. Interestingly, the UK government has decided not to intervene. A government source linked Puig's decision to what they described as the issues with the protocol, and Northern Ireland Secretary Brendan Lewis said it was within Northern Ireland's legal remit. This isn't really true. International treaties are not a devolved matter, and Section 26 of the Northern Ireland Act gives the UK government the power to override Northern Ireland. The UK government is probably obliged to do so in accordance with Article 5 of the Withdrawal Agreement, which obliges the UK to take all appropriate measures to ensure fulfilment of the agreement. This is the line the EU took, arguing that it was the responsibility of the UK government to enforce the international treaty that they signed up to a year or so ago. If we're being honest, the UK government's surprisingly relaxed approach to this, it's hard to imagine the UK government responding similarly if, say, Nicola Sturgeon decided to unilaterally agree something with the EU, is probably partly down to the fact that it plays well with Brexiteers, who see the protocol as a limit on the UK's sovereignty. On the Irish side of things, Sinn Féin accused the DUP of playing domestic politics and ignoring real issues, while the Irish Minister for Foreign Affairs Simon Coveney described it as effectively a breach of international law. On to the fourth and final part of this video, the impact on Northern Irish Protocol negotiations. So far, these negotiations have not gone well. The EU firmly resisted David Frost's demands to scrap the ECJ, and while Liz Truss, his replacement, has brought a change of tone, her demands are basically the same. Again, the EU has resisted, and there's currently a deadline set for the 21st of February, or negotiations will collapse. The UK's decision to apparently sanction a breach of international law again will only further endanger what little trust there is left between the EU and UK, making the collapse of the protocol and the chaos that brings with it, including the possibility of a trade war between the two, more likely. So that's the new crisis across the Irish Sea. But what do you think? Will this mean a UK-EU trade war, or is this just another Brexit bluff? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. As I said at the start of the video, you can get 15% off our Countries with Shoes pin badges by using code BORDER. Those pins feature our iconic designs and represent the UK and every EU country as well as a bunch more. Your purchases support the channel and help us create more content for everyone. The link to the stores down below. And as always, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. Special thanks to our Patreon backers for making videos like this one possible, and if you want to see your name at the end of videos just like these people, then be sure to back us on Patreon. The link to that is in the description below.